Alright, so we are now on task number 12, which is our ear cytology. We're going to obtain our sample, we're going to roll our slides, and then we're going to read them. So this is our patient, Colby. He is an allergy dog, so he does tend to get ear infection flare-ups from time to time. He has food allergies and seasonal allergies. So what I'm going to do is I have a syringe of sterile saline, and I just have 2 clean cotton tip applicator swabs. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to moisten the tip of my applicator swab with the saline, and I'm going to place them in the ear canal. And I'm gently just going to roll it in the ear canal, try to pick up some of the debris. Not going to apply too much pressure, because if you apply a lot of pressure, then you can cause some irritation. So you can see we got a little bit of sample off that. So that was the right ear. I'm going to do the same with the left. Just moisten my applicator. Good boy, I know, good boy. Alright. And then just a little bit of debris out of that one. And this is the left. So in order to tell the difference between my left and right applicators, I like to just break this one so it makes a bit of an L. So I know left is the broken one. And I'm going to let Colby down, and I'm going to take these over to the lab. Alright, so we are here at our sink. So I have all of my things. I have my stain here. I have a lighter to help me fix our sample. I have some slides, and I have our swabs. So what I'm going to do is I've labeled our slides. I think you can see it, Colby, R for the right ear. And I'm going to take our unbroken swab here, and I'm just going to roll it down the width of the slide, trying not to overlap too much. And I do not want to smear this. I don't want to slide it. I just want to get as much of the sample transferred as I can. And kind of just a layer effect here. Alright, so you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but put my hand there. There's a bit of debris along the slide, so that's perfect. And then I'm going to do my left one as well in the same fashion. So I'm just taking my sample, and I know this is my left because it's my broken one, and just rolling it. Actually, I'm going to break this off all the way to make it easier to handle. Just going to roll it along, trying not to smear or slide. My gloves are sticking. I'm trying not to overlap too much either. So you can see a little bit more sample got transferred onto that one. There we go. Alright, so what I'm going to do is heat fix this, and I don't need to do it for very long, just a couple of seconds. So I'm going to get my lighter, and I'm just going to wave it gently. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do about 3 seconds on the other one. 1, 2, 3. Alright, and that's all set. And now I'm going to dye it. So we use, I'll turn you down, the Diff Quick set, which has our fixative, our red stain, and our blue stain. And I like to keep a little paper towel to try to keep things clean. And we keep a separate set of stain so that we're not using the same stain for our blood slides as we are for things like ears. So this is our dirty stain set for ears and such. So I'm going to do it kind of the same way, just dip for 10 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5. And this needs to be refilled. In a little 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm gonna just give this a little bit of a rinse, not very much at all, just to get some of this off. Quick rinse. Just the majority of it off. I'm just checking to make sure I can still read our logo labeling, which I can, which is good. Alright, and same thing with the right. There's that one. I'm just going to give it a quick light rinse. I usually let the water run down my fingertip to make it, try to get it as gentle as possible. And then I can smear the back to get off any excess off the back. Alright, now I'm going to take these over to the lab. You can wave them in the air to let them dry a little bit. Take them over to the lab and read them. Okay, so our last step of our cytology is to read our slides. I've had them just sitting here drying for a little bit longer while I got everything ready. So on our microscope, I'm going to set it so that my frosted edge of the butt is to my left. I always like to start on 4, just so that on the 4 lens, just so that I can kind of base and see where I'm at, make sure I get everything set and in view. At one edge. And there's the end of my slide, so I'm going to switch over to my 10 view. Get everything in focus. Here we And on course review on the 10 lens, I'm not seeing too much that I would consider suspicious. Some clusters of debris, which I would think is more earwax, and some possibly epithelial cells. But I'm gonna take a look at the 40 as well real quick, and then we'll switch to our oil immersion, the 100 lens. Just trying to find a good spot where I want to take a closer look. Alright, let's switch to 40. Alright. So I'm going to switch the lens to 40 so I can take a closer look and get in focus here. Alright. some dye debris. A couple epithelial cells. Definitely some wax. Alright, so I'm going to switch over to our oil immersion lens now. Just going to get a little bit of oil onto the thing here. Put it right in the middle. Just carefully switch my slide, or my lens. Alright, yeah, definitely just a couple epithelial cells, no bacteria really, no yeast infection, no yeast that I'm really seeing at all. So everything looks really good. So I would say the debris in Colby's ear right now is just mostly wax, and his ears are pretty quiet at this point, so that looks great. Simply one lone bacterial cell, maybe one lone yeast, but that would be about it. Hair. Nails. Alright, so that looks good. So I'm just going to lower my platform, take my slide off, switch to the 4. I'll get out a piece of lens paper to my lens. So we do keep a nice little fire here. This is put out by Batrel next to our lab area for quick reference. Scoot you a little closer. And it just kind of does a really good job of breaking down some of the more common things seen in ears. So this one is neutrophils with bacterium in them. This one is cocci bacteria. I don't know if I can get you to focus on that one a little bit. So the arrow is pointing at some cocci bacteria, which look just like little tiny circles. They're kind of like pearls. So the other one that we can often see for bacteria are rod-shaped bacteria, which this one has. You can see the rods a little bit better. They're kind of colonized there, so they form longer chains in that picture anyway. The other one we see is yeast. It's easy to see in this one. It kind of has this weird bottle-y shape. If you turn it like that, it kind of looks like a bottle, which makes it a little easier to distinguish from the bacteria. It's also a lot bigger, so you can see the this arrow is actually pointing to 3 individual cocci bacterium in a row, and then the malassezia, the yeast, is right above it right there. And then this one is malassezia. It's kind of in comparison with some more epithelial cells right along in there. So you can get a kind of an idea of the size of it. So those are the three, because there's cocci and rod-shaped bacterium, bacilli bacterium, and those two. And then there's the yeast, the malassezia. The other one that we see commonly is ear mites, so otodectes. A lot of times we see those more in cats or puppies, especially young kittens and puppies. So I'm just gonna bring up a picture of that real quick so you can take a look. The key to ear mites is to make sure you're not confusing them with mange. We are seeing a lot of mange at this time too. So you gotta make sure, but a lot of times these ones are itching mostly at their ears. It's inside their ear, whereas a lot of times the mange, the sarcoptes we see is outside on the pinna, so that's a clue. Also, they tend to have this really blackish, chalky-ish kind of debris in the ear, as opposed to mange, which gets into the skin itself, and the skin tends to go a little bit scabby and lose the hair. But with these, they can scratch so bad that the hair around the ear falls out. So those are the common ear parasites that we see.